comedy, pop culture, and everything in between. By idiots, for idiots. Welcome, sinners. This is Sports Idiot Nation.
Welcome in, sinners. I am Adam Reno, as always, joined by Mr. T.I. Are you at 32,000 yet, bro? Or are you still at 31,000?
About 200 away. We're close.
Okay, so Mr. 31,000 followers on Facebook.
31.8K.
Well, I'm not doing that, you weirdo. Freaking idiot. We have two more lovable, huggable idiots that we want to introduce, Mr. Jeff Michael and Mr. Ryan Van Dever. T.I., will you do the honors of doing the intros, because I know these dudes through you.
Absolutely. So obviously when you're in the sports media circuit like we are, you have a tendency to pay attention to some folks that are just doing gangbuster numbers, and that's two of them here. I got my friend Jeff Michael from Sports with Balls. We got Ryan here from Hot Zone Sports. Both of them are killing it. I've been watching for a long time, and once I kind of had this pipe dream of expanding something bigger from the Titans Idiot Nation, these were two of the first cats I reached out to about bringing on as affiliates, and super excited to have them on. Super proud of what they do, impressed, and love their drive, love their work ethic. Don't want to speak for them. So Jeff, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, and then Ryan, and when Jeff's done, you do the same.
Yeah, man, look, Jeff Michael here, Sports with Balls. Follow on all platforms, like you said, and I appreciate you guys for reaching out, trying to do a show. And look, anytime that anybody wants to do something on a sports platform, and it is as aggressive as you were and as driven as you were, man, it's impressive, man. And I love stuff like that, and doing stuff like this. We all, when you can do collaborations, it's amazing, right? So appreciate you guys having me on the show, man. Let's talk sports.
For sure. Ryan, what about you, man? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, it started with Facebook. I got I'm about 700 away from 30,000. Started doing this September 13th of last year. So it's been a wild ride. And I started a podcast just about the same time you guys did. Got it on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, all that stuff. And just follow Hot Zone Sports on all social medias, even Threads. We got that thing going as well. And
nice.
If you like sports content, we're the way to go.
Awesome. Yeah, you guys are both killing it. Super impressed, and super honored to have you as a part of this whole thing, man, because this is just a pipe dream that we're growing. And in 5 years, I'm going to be super excited to see where this is. And I hope you guys are right here in the middle of it with us.
So let's get into something, because before the show, Jeff, I was talking to you about some baseball, and you had an interesting perspective, as you are a Houston Asterix fan. And because of that, you have an interesting perspective in that they were in the National League before. So you're a hater of both the New York Yankees and the LA Dodgers. I can appreciate that. Did you watch the fifth inning of the infamous game that we're all talking about? Did you watch it live?
I did not watch it live, unfortunately, because, as you said, not a fan of either one of those teams. I'm a fan of baseball in general, and I am from Houston, and I try to stay as non-biased as I can, but the Houston Astros are like, for sure a good team, and I am a fan.
On this show, we want the bias.
Well, like in national radio, you try to stay as unbiased as possible. But look, as long as the evil empire lost, I was completely okay with it. It's a lesser of two evils when you're talking about the Dodgers and the Yankees. When you're a Houston Astro fan, look, any outcome was okay with us. But I think that baseball got exactly what they wanted, and what they wanted from the beginning of the season. They wanted the LA, they wanted the New York. Now, did they want the gentleman sweep? I don't think so. But they definitely wanted LA, New York, and they got it. But if from an Astros perspective, yes, I think we were all really excited that the New York Yankees absolutely crumbled in that fifth inning. And it wasn't. They made errors during that whole series. It was a disaster for the Yankees, and fun to watch, honestly.
The one thing that I also agree that they didn't want was Shohei throwing his shoulder completely out of socket, where he can't even swing the bat. And then they still give him a free pass with interference and still get the guy on base where he can still cause damage. And they didn't want Aaron Judge to suck. That's not something they wanted.
Yeah,
I agree. Yeah.
Not.
but my question is though, maybe that's what baseball wanted, but did the fans want a Subway Series? Did the fans want Mets Yankees? I don't know. I kind of wanted a Mets Yankees series myself. Kind of wanted to see it, you know.
I feel like the East Coast maybe wanted that, but you're taking all the West Coast viewers out of that at that point, right?
Yeah.
And plus the market, you're taking the Shohei Ohtani lovers way out of that, and the foreign market, right? They had like 14 million people watching at one time.
Ooh.
Right.
Ryan,
Right.
what about you, man? Up in Kansas, who do you root for when it comes to baseball?
I'm a Braves fan through and through.
Okay.
Don't ask me why. It had to do with my grandpa. So my brother's a Cubs fan.
Hey, all that matters.
I'm a Braves fan when it was actually on TV. So me personally, I wanted the NLCS to go through Atlanta, just because you got Freddie Freeman. The Braves have been consistently good over the past 4 or 5 seasons, but there's just way too many injuries for the Braves to overcome. So I personally thought there was a lot of fluff when it came to the playoffs, whether it was the ALCS, NLCS, it didn't matter, the divisional series. You had the Padres in there, who I didn't even think were. I wrote an article before the season started with projections, and I didn't even have the Padres projected as a top team in the NL. And it was just, I watched the 5th inning live, and I thought to myself, I was like, this is going to turn into a disaster. I felt
Oh,
it.
yeah.
I knew something was going to.
Yep. 5 unearned runs.
When
It was 5-5 after that.
when
The ball can find you, it will.
when Judge dropped that ball,
Oh,
is the fix in? Is this
Yeah.
what's going on right now?
Ryan, how about this? Did you like the fact that in the first inning they were able to cover a ground ball beautifully by a one Mookie Betts? Beautiful. Just like you learned at 11 years old playing Wildcat. And then all of a sudden they just look at each other like, you got it, oh no, and let's have them score more runs. What are you doing? Like, I just don't understand that.
But the thing is, after this whole conundrum happened, like, what's to say the Yankees don't just implode from the inside out? Like,
Oh, please.
you
Come on.
Soto,
That's just.
he's more than likely going to go to the Phillies or the Mets, and then you have like the pitching staff. I don't know how the Yankees are going to keep all this together. You got to give Garrett Cole an additional $36 million just to get him to stay on the team. Like,
I think he just opted out, didn't he?
did he?
Yeah, I think he just opted out. Like, so yeah, I agree with you.
They offered him
Well,
$35.5 million. They're like, hey, we got $35.5 million. He was like, I'm out.
Yeah, I think he just opted out, and nothing would make me happier than the Yankees imploding after a gentleman sweep. And like again, like I said, the ball always finds you, right? Like Judge was having an absolutely.
Oh. He'll probably come back. Yeah, Aaron Judge. I don't know. He pulled an Aaron Judge where he's just a no-show. Like,
It's just
that was the worst performance.
It was the entire playoffs, though. And it even went back to previous playoffs where once he gets in the batter's box, he's not there. Like,
Yeah,
at some point, you have to say, okay, maybe I should go seek a therapist because I'm going, oh, for how many?
He's the Clayton Kershaw of playoffs.
Oh, my gosh. And me personally, I have a severe hatred for the Yankees. Being a Braves fan, being a teenage boy, watching in my bedroom the World Series, and then the Braves you got Glavine, Smoltz, you got all these guys, and they can't do it. And then you got the Dodgers. I don't like the Dodgers at all because how much money you got to throw into one team? $500 million?
When you have Magic Johnson, it's a lot easier to get that.
But it was nice to see the Royals, a smaller market team, where they actually accomplished something and they didn't have to wait 20 years to get in the playoffs again. So that was a bonus.
Yeah, no, for sure. Baseball, it was cool to have just in general, like big market LA versus New York. I'll give it that. Even though I'm from the Bay and that's up north and I don't like LA, I will admit, like as far as ratings and like what the commissioner wanted, I'm sure he was salivating. LA versus New York, like just even from old school of the Brooklyn Dodgers. And here's a crazy stat that Miles found a way to still be in the show, even with him not being here. He pointed out that, get this is the weirdest stat. So the two teams who have faced each other in the playoffs more than any other team, when you talk about just two teams meeting in the playoffs, you'll never guess. It is the Los Angeles Dodgers and the New York Yankees. That doesn't make any sense because one's in the American League, one's in the National. You would think like, oh, Braves Mets or Braves Giants or Dodgers Mets or Yankees Red Sox or Yankees Orioles or Yankees Royals, something. No, the two teams who have met the most, keep in mind, they have not met in 30 years. And yet they still have the record for most times met in playoffs. That is nuts.
They probably met the most when they were like the Brooklyn Dodgers and
It was, but still, in that 40 years, no one caught up. The Phillies and the Mets, or the Phillies and the, like, whatever. No one caught up to that. How many times did the Braves make the playoffs in a row? Like 25 years? The amount of times they were on TBS, right? They made the playoffs. Well, there were so many teams they could have played. Like, you would think maybe someone versus the Braves was like the most teams matched up. Nope, it's the Dodgers Yankees. Just crazy. So was interesting. We'll see. Shohei Ohtani is officially back to being a pitcher now. We'll see how that goes. I mean, how much better could he really get after hitting 50 home runs and stealing 50 bases? We'll see. Okay, I wanted to move to the NBA. I joked earlier at the beginning, and at this point, we can admit that the memes are done. I think I've seen 47 different memes. We've shared them. Ryan's probably shared them. Like, everyone's shared them. They are gold. They're gold. I love them. It's probably done. But here's what I'll say. Did you guys see that the guy who made the statue of Dwayne Wade said it's the best ever, and no one You're gonna double down. You're gonna double down on that, dude.
Yeah, my goodness. Nobody, I mean, that's what I say anytime that back in high school or college when I had to do some kind of project and I mailed it in the last night, all-nighter, and I'm like, yes, that's the best I could have possibly done in 8 hours for sure. Even though I had 3.5 weeks to prepare for this, this is the best I could do. I mean, it was comical, it was hilarious. I felt like it was about the equivalent of like the Jabba the Hutt Han Solo, like, it was like, that's all I saw was just Han Solo. I did not see Dwayne Wade. I did not see a statue. All I saw was someone trapped and screaming for their life and very scared, terrified, So that was my thoughts on that statue.
I'm just curious, was whoever made the Kobe statue, did they make the Dwayne Wade statue either, because they both were just horrendous. And then if you actually want to go back and look at Leo Messi's statue, that monstrosity, it looked like, sorry, 10-year-old kids, but it looked like a 10-year-old kid made that.
That's an insult to 10-year-old kids everywhere.
I know it is. Luckily, my kids are 17, so they won't take the insult. But yeah.
I remember also the Allen Iverson statue. Oh, that's Jeff's back.
Sorry,
he was there. He was there. He just wasn't there. It was weird. He was texting me. He's like, "Can you guys see me?" But we didn't.
Yeah, I was talking, and I can see y'all and heard the whole thing. Y'all just couldn't see me. I don't know what happened. So
Jeff's
we're good now, but we're talking about the statue.
Ignoring me. Oh yeah, we're talking about the statue. Jeff's like, these guys are ignoring me, man. No, what are your thoughts on that horrific statue, man? Oh my God. He's going to get.
Never mind.
Too soon, bro. T.I. let him know. We're not ignoring him, but he's gone too soon. Gone till November. He's Wyclef. Gone till November. Yeah. I also think of the Allen Iverson. Remember how small the statue was? And they said, well, there's precedent for that. Like, there's a lot of smaller statues. Like, nah, bro. No one led us to believe that it was going to be that small. It was like a statue of Lil Bow Wow. That's what I thought it was. Like, when he was like, be like Mike. What was that movie with Lil Bow Wow where he plays basketball? That's what I thought that statue was.
Yeah, like Mike.
Yeah, like Mike. So, all right, speaking of NBA, we haven't got into too much of it since it started. And I want to talk to Ryan because he happens to like a team that is doing very well, which at this point last year, they were also doing very well. They ended up as a number 1 seed. They did choke a little bit, but
A little.
yeah, nucleus. And so, are you surprised that the OKC Thunder are off to their best start ever, or did you kind of see this coming with Holmgren?
I'm not surprised offensively as to how they've struggled, because it's kind of like how they ended last season. They struggled offensively, but defensively, no, this is not a surprise. They were one of the more dominant teams in the NBA when it came to their defense. They were allowing just 91 points per 100 possessions. You know, the offense, as I said, it hasn't been great, but it doesn't need to be great right now when you're averaging a beatdown of 12 points per game, and you're going to have, this is going to be the year. You're going to find out on my YouTube, because I am going to spam Shai Gilgeous-Alexander all over the place, because he is launching his campaign, and LeBron James, you're not going to stop him. Joel Embiid, you need to worry about your brother, because it ain't happening this year, because he's averaging 26 points, 7.5 rebounds, 6 assists, 2.5 steals per game. And then you have Chet Holmgren, who you can rely on, and he's averaging 22.5 points.
Chet's great. I like Chet. I like watching him play, man. I like his style.
I just wish he'd put on some more pounds, because
it reminds me of a young me on the court.
Yeah, I'm sure. Kevin Durant was. I mean, if you look at Kevin Durant's career, he still hasn't put on that many pounds from when he was with the Seattle Supersonics. Holmgren, I think, has a chance to put on a little bit of weight. He's really young, obviously. So the following teams are either undefeated or only have 1 loss as of today, November 4th. Golden State Warriors, Phoenix Suns, Boston Celtics are all either 5-1 or 6-1, and then the Cleveland Cavaliers are 7-0, and Thunder is 6-0. And so I don't know if I'm that shocked about the Suns, the Celtics. Obviously, any success that the Celtics have, like, they freaking won it last year, and they kept their nucleus. So what are we talking about? Like, they're not even worth talking about. The Warriors are interesting, and Steph's already hurt again. We'll see how they do. The Mavericks are 4-2. Going the other way, the Jazz have not. They're not off the schneid yet. They are the Tennessee Titans of the NBA.
How dare you? We have 2 wins. Okay, the Jazz do not have that. So
yeah,
we really need to study the Cleveland Cavaliers and what the hell is going on in Cleveland. I know it wasn't just because the Lakers played there and Bronny James scored his first points, but they were a middle of the pack offensive team a season ago,
and now they're scoring 23.1 points per game.
That was
they're second in the league in scoring right now.
Hey,
and
but that was a clutch shot, Bronny. That was don't underestimate that clutch shot. That cut the deficit to 22 points when he hit that shot.
Yeah, we also
heard of the name Kenny Atkinson?
I have.
Yes.
I
Like
have.
Kenny Atkinson. There's not a lot of players, unless you're a sports guy, you've not heard of this name. But he has scored 123 points in 100 possessions.
I'll take it.
That's wild.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
Well, I for one am a Grizzlies fan. We all know that they every loss they have this season, they've been up by double digits at halftime. So I just wish they could close them out. But Ja has rested one of those games. That's one thing. This whole load management thing is ridiculous. But I think the Grizzlies got a good core. They got Scottie Pippen Jr. coming off the bench. Bro's averaging like 12 assists a game. He had 13 last 2 nights ago. Tell you, man, Lakers passed on him. I'm coming this close to getting a Pippen jersey just to have a Grizzlies jersey with Pippen on the back. Something about it, you know. It's cool, man. I love it. But yeah, I've been a Grizz. I mean, I've been an NBA fan since I was a kid. Grew up in the 80s, of course, watching the Bulls. Love Jordan. The minute the Grizzlies moved here, I was all in. You know, I was, when they were winning 6 games, 7 games a year, I was picking them on NBA Live, every video game. I went down to Memphis. My first Grizzlies game was back when like KG originally still played for the Timberwolves before he went to Celtics and came back. And Jason Williams was the point guard. So that was like my first Grizzlies game way back in the day. Still had Shane Battier and all that. So I'm a Grizz diehard. And I feel like Ja is maturing this season. I feel like he's taking that next step. Him and Pippen Jr. off the bench are just working together. And freaking, Jay Huff.
Will he be suspended this year? That's
That's a question right there.
I don't think so.
We're on the same page.
Yeah. And they got Jay Huff that made the team, and dude had 5 threes 2 nights ago. I mean, it's like I was the first game of the year. I was like, who is this tall white guy that I've never seen before? And now I'm 5, 6, 7 games in, and I'm just like, okay, I realize why he earned that 2-way contract. Like, dude is balling, man.
Listen, I hope you're correct as far as the Ja thing is concerned. I do not watch the NBA till later on in the season, when it gets a little bit more interesting. But as far as for the popularity of the league and making it more entertainable, Ja needs to be in there. He is must see TV when he's on. So I hope you're correct, because he's fun to watch for sure.
Well, he's 1 assist away from 2 triple doubles out of 5 games this year. So I'll take.
Well, he needs to give himself an assist and buy himself a holster is what he needs to do.
Yeah. Hey, he had an assist from the ground floor level the other night, which was pretty slick. He's on the ground. He had 3 dudes on him. He did the fake pass, threw it to Aldama. Aldama got the backwards dunk. I mean, the reverse dunk. It was pretty slick.
I used to watch Memphis State in there, which is now University of Memphis, in the Pyramid when Penny played there and Greg Vaughn played there. So I used to go to the Pyramid a lot.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Love it.
Love some Penny.
Yeah.
Man. That Penny Shack original Magic was so fun to watch, man.
And Lil P.
Penny.
Penny.
See that Penny? That's Chris
Rock.
That was Chris Rock. Yeah, Chris Rock.
So LP, Lil Penny. Yeah, that was
Before he got slapped.
Oh,
and before he got yeah, there's 3 Chris Rock slap.
You keep throwing Morant's name out your mouth.
Yeah, and his dad will come. John's dad will come for us. Because he does that. With him and Jokic. Gets all Jokic.
Yeah, Josh's dad's something else. He's definitely riding that train. We know that.
Hey, living vicariously through him. Why not? I would.
Him and Shannon Sharp got into it. Oh yeah, that was entertaining.
Good chase.
Good chase.
Yeah, we talked about his live Instagram feed a couple of weeks ago. They're about him. It's wild.
Him and Paul Pierce, they like to have a good time.
If I invite you to a party, I am in.
We got 100. Are you going to a Diddy party though?
Going to a Diddy party?
Yes. You're invited, bro.
Which that's funny on Club Shay's show when he had who was it on when he said the guest said, Well, look, man, like we've all probably worn women's clothing at some point. And he was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. No, man, like, whoa. He like did, who was it? Man, I can't remember.
Was that
It was,
Catwoman?
no, it wasn't that one. We all know about that one. It was a sports star that was just on. It was like, I want to say like a hockey player or a boxer. And someone who just said like, well, come on, we've all been, you know, taught probably do. And he was like, well, hold on now. He wasn't going to in that category. So speaking of category, I want to switch over to college football because my phone just dinged at me, and Ole Miss just scored again on Arkansas. It is now 70-31. Fun. So what I'm going to do is go over all the teams that lost in the top 15 or so, because I just think the way it's going to shake out tomorrow is a huge day. Not because of the election. That's a crapshoot.
Yeah.
But because the college football, we're just getting closer to finding out these 12 teams that we're going to be. Man, you talk about content, boys. We're going to have some full content coming in the next couple months with these top 12 college football. So let's get into it. So first you had Penn State. Obviously in this game, one of the teams obviously have to lose. So you have number 3 versus number 4. So Penn State lost. Iowa State lost by 1 freaking point. And then you had Clemson, number 11 Clemson, lost at home to Louisville. That makes that Notre Dame, when Notre Dame beat, Notre Dame lost to Louisville, right? No, did they beat them? Because they were off.
They beat them. I think Notre Dame also has one loss.
That's a good win for them. Let's see.
How is Notre Dame even in this conversation, considering that who they lose to? Northern Illinois? Who is it?
Well, the
NIU?
Yeah, but they've run through the rest of their schedule.
I know that.
We all know the voters every single year they over amplify Notre Dame.
They're the only team. Yeah, they're the only team that can have 3 losses, still be in the top 20. You know.
And hey, watch out! SMU might sneak in there this year, man.
Yeah,
they beat number 18 Pittsburgh. Speaking of the top ones going down.
Yep, so them, and then also South Carolina be dropping points on Texas A&M. Now, Texas A&M was ranked.
I know that was in South Carolina.
Yeah,
South Carolina.
Pretty hockey. But the only now what I want to talk about is we usually talk about it because we can't shut up Miles about it. This time, like, this is legit, man. Like, they have not, the IU football Hoosiers, I don't even know how to call them. Like, they're not, I've never talked about them before. I'm awkward. But, like, they have never trailed in a game this season until 2 days ago when they were down to Michigan State. And by the way, when they were down those points, they dropped 37 consecutive points and shut out little brother for the rest of the game. So, like, they took that stat and rammed it down our throats. Like, okay, we'll show you. And that was pretty much their average score, 47-10. Their average score, I think, is like 46-13. And the argument for IU certainly is they've always played these teams, and they usually either lose 23-10 or win 23-20. So when you take these wins into account, that they're beating teams like they dropped like 70 on, like, they're beating teams up. At what point none of us here are IU football fans. For the first time on Sports Idiot Nation, we are saying that because Miles is with us. So we can be real about this. I'm in. I think I'm in for these guys. Like, what can you say? T.I., are you in?
I mean, my team just lost to Vandy. I'm totally in. Yeah.
Yeah. My team's going to say, we play this Friday. But we're out.
Give me a quality win. Give me a quality win.
It's coming. Ohio State. It's coming. I feel it.
Okay.
I feel it. I mean, let's be real. I feel it.
Going down. I'm looking at their schedule. I mean, FIU, Western Illinois, UCLA, Charlotte, Maryland, Northwestern, Nebraska, but Nebraska's not that good. Washington and Michigan State's terrible.
Oh, Jeff, 56-7.
They could possibly lose. They could possibly lose. They could possibly lose their final 3 games: Michigan, Ohio State, Purdue, and then we won't be having any of this.
What about Purdue? I think I can beat Purdue.
No, you're not losing against Purdue, but Michigan, that could be a trap game right there. And then you have Ohio State, so I can see that unfolding like that. But you can easily beat Michigan because their quarterback plays just piss poor.
That's why. Are you kidding?
Let's be real. Ohio State is the one. If they beat Ohio State, it's like, hey, they're there, you know. But yeah, you're right. I mean, it still is Ohio State. Even if Indiana is on par with them,
so if they reach,
there's that mental block of we're still going up against a perennial powerhouse. So yeah, I get that for sure. But my team sucks, so I'm all in.
We'll see. We'll see. Look, my big takeaway from the past weekend of all the tops, like Indiana, was the Texas A&M. I'm going to the A&M Longhorns game coming up at the end of the year, right? And I wanted A&M to win that game, so it made it a little bit more important. A&M losing that game was not good. Was not good at all. Well, at least if you're an A&M fan, obviously. But I wanted to see UT and A&M go at it, both with 1 loss and basically a playoff game at the end of the year. That would have been a lot of fun.
Yeah, this weekend we're talking about Ole Miss at home against Georgia. Tennessee has to keep winning still. LSU at home versus Alabama. LSU right now is 16 and Alabama is 14. Obviously, these numbers are going to change very, very quickly. But Notre Dame gets a 26-point spread. They play Florida State. That's a joke.
Florida State, have they qualified for the first pick in the college football draft?
Yeah.
Right.
Dude, that is brutal.
Ooh.
The rest of the matchups should be easy. Texas has Florida, Miami plays Georgia Tech, Ohio State plays Purdue. Like the rest of these matchups are, other than Georgia and Ole Miss and LSU, Alabama, there's nothing really. Penn State plays Washington. We'll see how far Penn State drops. I'm a Penn State hater, not in general, but just for this season. I thought they were like, who did they? Same question, Jeff. Let's look at their body of work. I don't think they were,
I don't understand the big knock on their head coach. I mean, the guy, they play good football. I think they're 1-9. Well, they're 1-10, right, versus ranked opponents or something like that. And he's like 0-4 versus Ohio State, whatever it is. I just look, man. They beat USC, they beat Illinois, they beat West. Well, I mean, there's still big names that he's gone through. And last year, there was the same issue last year. Last year, they had a great record, just couldn't win the big games. And that's what's weird about college football. It's like it doesn't matter on your winning record. You have to beat the big programs. And that's, that's his knock. And they were booing him. Like, I mean, trying to, like, literally booing him. And like,
what's your name? Tell me your name if you're going to talk smack.
Yeah. James Franklin. I don't knock James Franklin. He turned Vandy around. He made Vandy relevant. He was the first to beat Tennessee in a long time at Vandy. Unfortunately, he made some bad decisions when Vandy had that incident. He tried to kind of cover up some stuff. I don't think he deliberately did, but he panicked and made some wrong moves, and obviously he ran out of town. And yeah, I'm kind of like with you, Jeff. I don't understand the hate on him. I think like he can probably take any program and make them competitive.
They're number 3 in the nation, or prior to, tomorrow's poll. Like, I mean, and you're sitting here like literally trying to run the guy out of town, and your team is number 3 in the nation, and you're on pace to make the playoff. Like, dude, like, I mean, you calm down.
If Ryan Day still has his job, then James Franklin should be real.
But the difference between Ryan Day and James Franklin is Ryan Day has actually won something. James Franklin is on the cusp every single year, and he just lays a fucking shit. Honestly, it's either you lose to Michigan You lose to Ohio State. Like, you can't get past those two, which I don't understand. As a Notre Dame guy, I understand. Academics, retards aren't going to come to Notre Dame. But you have Penn State, Ohio State. There's no restrictions on academia. So what is the deal? I don't get it.
Sure. Yeah.
Well, we're gonna find out. I mean, they're gonna if they keep winning. Let's see, what's their schedule like coming up?
So I was looking at that. So they have,
Easy.
that's what I'm saying.
He went out.
Yeah.
They're in the playoffs. They're good to go.
And then they're going to lose the first round.
Well, hey, listen, at least we have a first round. This, like, people are not even talking about this enough, that we have a freaking round of playoffs coming up in college football. That's phenomenal. That is absolutely amazing that we're about to have playoffs in college football, man. And nobody's even really talking about it.
Yeah, it is pretty amazing. For years, I had, of course, I am a self-declared idiot, but every now and then I have a good idea. And I had said for years, I was like this argument of, well, the kids' schools matter and their education matters, and I'm just like, no, it doesn't matter. Like they're making millions of dollars off these games. My whole solution for this whole thing was, at the end of the year, you take the top 10, the top 6 are in. You make 7 through 10 compete for those final 2 spots, and you have 8 teams in the playoffs. Granted, we've moved forward now and we have something better, but for years I was just like,
that's like NBA. Didn't you describe the NBA?
Yeah, like why?
No, it's not like NBA. Everybody gets in the NBA.
Yeah, if you're in the East, all you got to do is win 30 games to make the playoffs.
Yeah. Go Memphis Grizzlies.
Well, they're in the West. So joke's on you.
Like, she's slipping.
But I always thought it was just a no-brainer. It's like, man, you got your top 6 teams. There's probably no question they're the top 6. The 7 through 10 could be debatable. Make those teams do play in like we do with the March Madness, and then you have your field of 8 and have them go. And every year it was like, well, no, they're in school and they're taking their grades serious. No, they're not. Like, the majority of those kids are going to the NFL, even if they're terrible. Like, there's a chance they're probably getting drafted to some special teams position or something. So let's pump the whole their education matters. Because don't get me wrong, education does matter. I'm not saying that at all. But like, these guys are borderline professional athletes. They're not in class. A buddy of mine was in school at Knoxville with a couple of UT players, and literally, like, they would all be shocked when one of them would show up to class. I mean,
there is. So I'm in Kansas here, and Derby High School is like really big around here, and I know a sophomore. He already has an NIL deal with Porsche. He wrecked his first Porsche. He's a sophomore, mind you. He wrecked his first Porsche, got another Porsche. Do you really think they care about education? No, they care about getting that scratch. That's all they really care about. That and getting playing time on the field. Because this kid, he said he's going to be committing to Oklahoma. God rest his soul. But anyway, it's just like education is far beyond it. And then to touch on your topic of, back when there was the BCS, the reason why it was the BCS for so long is because you have a group of 90-year-old men who want it to be one way for decades, and they don't want any changes. It has to be this way. We only want 4 people. Back before then, there was tiebreakers just to be able to be a national championship. There was that one year with what was it, Florida? No, it was Miami and Nebraska. Like, it was just a big giant mess. I see it this year. There's going to be 12 teams. I get that, but it's going to be a big mess, because you can't sit here and tell me, and I'm a Big 12 guy, you can't sit here and tell me that BYU, if they match up against Ole Miss, that they're going to stand a chance. They're not. BYU is going to get blown out. I don't care how many people are tooting their horns or whatever, but it's going to end up being the same thing. It's going to end up being the same teams, the SEC powerhouses, and that's going to be that. And Colorado's going to sneak in. I'm just saying. It's going to happen, because the rest of their schedule is disgusting.
Wow.
You have Texas Tech playing next. And the Big 12 is a freaking disaster. So you have BYU, who hasn't lost yet.
Well,
and then you have Iowa State, who just lost, which is just stupid.
We never
and
say
then,
anything bad about Colorado, so
Hey, I'm not saying they should be, but their schedule is set up so where they can win out, and that's
for sure.
disgusting.
Yeah.
For sure.
To be the way that college, I feel, wants things to is that they want to be the SEC and they want it to be the Big Ten, and then everyone else, we hope that they don't get in. They only want those two conferences to be represented, and it's get in where you fit in. If you're not happy about it, you need to join one of those. That's what I feel like is going to happen in the next 2 to 3 years. That's just the landscape. You could see it. You can see it starting to happen now.
It's going to happen here in the next couple of years. Fans aren't going to be satisfied with the 12. Then they're going to want to move it to a 16, and ultimately, it's going to end up being like a 128 team playoff.
December Madness. There'll be December Madness and March Madness.
Yeah.
It'll be like a Christmas miracle, and you'll just have all these games.
It's going to be Kennesaw State against Idaho State.
Right. Shout out to Kennesaw State, baby. Yeah. The State Spartans have a chance then.
It's going to pretty much be the CFB NFC and the CFB AFC. I'm just going to have basically have a college football civil war.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
brackets
it's
like
huge.
East, North, all that.
Tuesday's going to tell us a lot. That's what we're excited for, to see, so we can start arguments, because that's what's going to happen. We're going to say, how could you have so-and-so at number 13? Whoever it is, I feel like, I know it won't be IU. They will not be 13.
Well,
they're 13 now, and all those teams know, so obviously.
I did see that Indiana snuck into the top 10, so they got that going for them. They're finally starting to get a little bit more respect, because they have not had any respect whatsoever this entire season. And I understand Jeff saying they haven't played anybody, but you are given the schedule that you're giving. And if you are beating the teams that you are beating
by 50 points. Yeah, come on.
They beat the brakes off of Washington. I know that their coach was gone, and then there was another, replacement coach. I get it.
That team beat Michigan.
Yeah, and Michigan State. Like, hey, say what you want about Michigan State, but you're still a Big Ten school.
Right, that's the thing. You're in the Big Ten. So again, it's all about Tuesday. We'll have plenty more to talk about on Tuesday when this stuff rolls out. But we're excited for the freaking playoff. It's just a cool thing to have. So a cool thing to have is your wits about you, and somehow
or internet working. Now my internet keeps going out. I guess because of weather-related issues. And I keep I'm hearing y'all and I can see y'all, and it's reconnecting. I was like, the cool thing to have. I'm like, yeah, the internet working would be great.
The cool thing to have is technology. It's almost 2025. Yeah.
You're popping in and out as like a bad SNL skit. I'm just saying.
Right. So, follow Sports Idiot Nation on social media, because when we post our reels and YouTube shorts and all that stuff, they're going to be flipping fantastic. Where it'll just be like a black screen, for 50% of it. The other 75% will have 3 handsome men, but then there'll just be a black charcoal. It'll just be a black spot.
Then you'll see Jeff come in. Hi guys, I'm still here.
Hold on, I'll just do something funny.
Yeah, that'll be our deal. And we'll be sure you boys get it so you can share to your social media too. But again, be sure to follow.
I was going to say, Jeff,
on that helmet in the background.
Jeff, you need to go through the house and unplug all the phones so you keep getting kicked off dial-up.
Dude, so I went upstairs. I swear to God, I went upstairs, told my son, get off Fortnite right now. Unplug the computer. I don't know. I don't know if it's the bandwidth.
That's what it is. That's what it is. I bet.
This was 20 minutes ago too, and then I still did it. I'm like, jeez.
Gremlins.
So I don't know.
It's almost that time of year for Gremlins.
I'm trying, guys.
Man.
And I paid good money. I paid good money for the highest quality internet service, and
Yeah.
maybe somebody's jacking.
Dude, go beat your neighbor's door down.
Exactly. I was thinking like somebody's watching porn next door.
You gotta
Asshole.
change the Wi-Fi password from 42069 boobs, okay?
Yeah. I will.
This is the exact reason to follow us at Sports Idiot Nation wherever you get your social media for all the memes, all of the ridiculousness. Again, follow Ryan and Jeff as well. I want to jump into some NFL because we were talking about this in the group chat TI with Miles. Dude, I don't know, and I hate the Philadelphia Eagles. It's well documented, so I would never give someone who puts on a green jersey a special shout out unless I was like seriously did a double take on what was going on. And I didn't see it live. I just saw the highlight 19 times in a row. How can you jump over another person reverse where you don't know? Dude, if you watch the clip, there are 3 defenders in the area that could possibly just light him up, or he comes down and snaps both of his ankles. Like, I just don't understand. For an extra 4.7 yards, I don't know if it's worth it, but dude, that will probably be on the SBs next year. Like, that was pretty wild. Like, I don't know, like, I've never seen someone like that. Something like that.
He's revenge. It's his revenge tour, man. You know, all the Giants fans. Oh, he's done. He's not going to do anything. He's on a tear.
Get the older people backwards.
He's happy. He's like, I haven't been happy in New York for 4 years. Playing some field games here, you know. It's like he's going to be doing the 3-legged race next, and probably the shoe scramble and wheelbarrow race, a couple other things, you know.
So I know 2 of you guys, Ryan and TI, are AFC South guys. Basically, it was a poor showing from everyone in the AFC South this past week, except for somehow backwards style. The Titans found a way to like into a win. That was ridiculous.
I mean, it's the absolute end of that. I mean, Drake May literally ran back and forth, back and forth,
Like Tecmo.
back and forth, back and 5 times. 5 times. Titans were like, we're not going to tackle him. We're just going to let him throw it out of the back of the end zone. I'm just like, what in the ever-living HE double hockey sticks are these fools doing, you know? I don't know.
You're not following the script, Drake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Drake.
Yeah.
Script. Yeah.
I couldn't believe that. Adam and I were on the group chat, and Adam's like, I don't even want to watch this overtime. This is ridiculous, you know?
Panthers and Lions, which I thought would be a better game. That was the game of the week, wouldn't you guys say?
Lions, man. Lions look good. But let's backtrack a second. Let's backtrack a second, though. So, Jeff, I know you originally were an Oilers fan. So have you adopted the Texans? You root for the Texans at all? Or, you know, like, I know you follow them. I know you, obviously it's big story there in your sports market.
No, I'm glad you mentioned that because I'm not a Texans fan. I think the organization as a whole is a terrible, terrible organization. And I follow sports from all sorts of angles and not just player wise. You know, we've had great players come through Houston as far as the Houston Texans are concerned. And the organizations have treated them like crap. It's just a badly run organization. And I feel bad for the fans here, right? Like, I mean, they had really high expectations. I told them to temper them this year as far as that's concerned. But and now you're seeing a little bit of what is happening to the Texans and CJ Stroud and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm not a massive Texans fan. I was an Oilers fan, and of course they went over to you guys, and then we didn't have a team for a long time, and I'm not just going to jump on this team. So and of course, you know, growing up in Memphis and in Dallas, I'm not a Cowboys fan either. But I find myself neutral. Denver Broncos. Maybe 49ers here and there, you know, but I don't have one specific team that I'm like, they need to win the Super Bowl. That's my home team.
Sure. Well, I know Ryan is a big Colts fan. Adam himself is born and bred. He's San Fran. He's all about it. We hear about it every 5 minutes. So we're kind of all over the board. But Ryan, like, what's your take? I know we just saw the Anthony Richardson debacle. We know how all that went. Now you got Flack-a-mole in there, but what's your take on where your team's headed?
I mean, if you really want to deep dive into everything Anthony Richardson, there was a podcast last week that I put out, but I will say one thing. The Colts are turning into the Browns of the 90s, where you would see a meme of a jersey where there's about 20 names on there, and that's where they're at. A lot of these NFL teams are expecting these rookies to come in and just dominate. And the Colts knew the situation that they were drafting when they drafted Anthony Richardson, and that was the fact that he had played. He didn't even play his junior year in high school. He only played 1 year at his uh,
12 games, I believe, in Florida.
Yeah. And then he played one game as a junior at the University of Florida. Then he played his senior season. And yes, he has highlight plays. He does. But the big problem with him is the reason why they switched to Flacco. One of the reasons is because he can complete short yards passes. And that's just a big struggle with him. But there's going to be a question that needs to be asked to the GM, to the coach, and probably Jim Irsay himself, because he's probably smoking a lot of reefer right now, making this decision.
We call him Percocet Jimmy around here. But,
hey, that's a good one right there, Percocet Jimmy. Well, they're going to have to answer for this, because I ultimately feel like this is what's going to happen. Joe Flacco is going to play the rest of the season, and then Anthony Richardson is going to get traded for pennies on the dollar, because they are going to, as in the Colts, they're going to ramp up, because guess who is going to be a junior next year? His name is Arch Manning. And for some reason, Jim Irsay, Percocet Jimmy, he sure loves him some Manning. So that is ultimately what's going to happen. But the biggest issue with the Colts right now is the fact that they felt that they had a great team that could make a playoff run, but it's not going to happen. They're not a playoff caliber team. And you saw last night when they played the Minnesota Vikings that they just can't score. They have weapons, but those weapons drop the ball. You have Joe Flacco, a 39-year-old quarterback. He can't even help out the Colts. So you're really at a confusing part of the season as this franchise tries to figure out, okay, do we start Anthony Richardson next week knowing that what we saw last night against the Minnesota Vikings was pure trash? I mean, you only put up 13 points. I know the Vikings have a good defense and they blitz like absolute crazy, but the point of the matter is, like, you know what you have now with Flacco. You already knew what you had when you signed him in free agency. It was a backup. It was a mentor for Anthony Richardson. So something needs to be asked about Anthony Richardson. What is really going on? Are you watching tape? Are you trying to figure out more, get more time to progress?
He's Jamarcus Russell, where they're like, hey, did you watch these tapes? He's like, yeah, well, what were they? Like blitz packages. And they're like, yeah, they were blank tapes.
I think it's weird that we throw people away so quick now, man. It's like, we're in that new era of football where it's like you win now, and that, there's no such thing as backup, sit for a year, or even coming in like what y'all's the next 5 games are Bills, Jets, Lions, Patriots, Broncos. Those could be 5 in a row losses. I mean, that's a brutal stretch for the Colts right now. They just came off the Vikings and the Texans. I mean, that's a 7-game stretch that's unbelievable. But like, writing people off, and I get it. Anthony Richardson, like you said earlier, he played 12 games in college. He is not ready. He does need to sit behind somebody like Flacco. Maybe they threw him out there too early, and maybe give him, let him sit the next, till the end of this season. Give him the summer, and then next year give him at least half the season. But I find it weird now that NFL teams are always like, you know what, you didn't win us the Super Bowl in year 1, so you're out of here. And it's like, damn, man.
The thing is, like, Patrick Mahomes, he sat damn near his entire first season. I mean, he played in garbage time. And then you have Jordan Love. he sat more than one season. Like,
I mean,
Yep.
but you just want to throw these quarterbacks into the NFL, who's is much faster. Uh, there's a lot stronger. You're getting blitzed more. You're getting different coverages, whether it be zone coverages, soft coverages, press coverages, and these quarterbacks have to know exactly where their receivers are going to be when they don't have any chemistry. Like, you're throwing them to the wolves when they don't even know
I
what they're
agree.
doing.
mm-hmm. I totally agree.
Yeah.
Quarterback, that's life for you. Is
Look at look at Sam Darnold. Look at Geno Smith. I mean, I'm not saying Geno Smith's lighting the world on fire, but I mean, Baker Mayfield. I mean, just last week, Geno Smith and Baker Mayfield were the top two passers in the league, and both their teams just cast them out. Now the Brown situation was different. I mean, come on, man. They basically sold the farm for Deshaun Watson, and we all know how that's worked out. So, that was a bad decision on their behalf. But Geno, it was a byproduct of the Jets. I mean, Sam Darnold, byproduct of the Jets. I mean, so many Jets
They all wanted it
quarterbacks.
to be Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
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 Everybody wants a Jaden Daniels right now, and it's like that's rare. That's very rare, and it takes chemistry, right? You have great quarterbacks that come out of college that just come into bad situations and bad offensive coordinators, and it's not their fault. They're just stuck in a bad situation. That just happens sometimes, and I hate that they throw these guys away. And it's like, oh well, this is like, man, what if his offensive coordinator is trash? What if this guy can't work with Anthony Richardson? I'm not exactly sure who the OC is in Indy, but there's a lot of different factors there, and it's like I hate when people are like, man, this guy's done. He's the Jamarcus Russell. It's like, whoa, let him sit for a little bit, let him learn, and then in 3 years, or if he still can't produce, or 2 years he still can't produce, well then that's a different story. But look what's happening to Drake May too. Drake May was pretty much cast into this role, and Drake May's actually done very well the last few, but he sat. He sat for a minute and watched a few games, and now he's playing pretty good football.
I mean, that was just because the Patriots were just terrified of the offensive line, thought he was just going to die in the middle of the game, basically.
yeah.
Really, if you were an NFL franchise, you do not want that number one pick, because you got Caleb Williams this year. You had Bryce Young last year. Granted, Bryce Young has had 3 different offensive coordinators, but it wasn't going to work out to begin with because you're like 4'2" or whatever. So
Panthers,
the
man.
thing.
He weighs like 165 pounds.
Yeah.
The Bryce Young.
That's brutal.
Yeah, we've touched on it a couple episodes back, but I just even being an Auburn fan, obviously I have respect for him, but he never sold me at that next level superstar. I was just like, I don't know why I still don't know why the Panthers didn't take Stroud. I was just like, I thought it was night and day on who the better quarterback was. And if the Texans didn't get wind of the Titans trading with Arizona to get Stroud, then they wouldn't have made that move. I mean, they knew, they were like, we can't pass up on this, and they made the move.
The Texans had the number 1 pick up until the last game of the season when they lost the number 1 pick.
You're welcome.
I think the Texans head coach was Lovie Smith. Lovie Smith was actually the Texans head coach.
Yeah, he was like,
two.
Screw you guys.
Yeah.
Great. But I mean,
that's exactly what happened.
I thought for sure the Titans were landing Stroud. It was, and it came out that obvious that they were going after him, and then whatever happens with Levis happens. But the irony in it is that they ended up still trading back with Arizona and got the pick through Arizona that they traded with the Texans and then drafted Levis with it. So it's like the Texans technically gave the Titans the pick to draft Levis. So we'll see how that works out. But it's still a comical thing to talk about. The NFL draft is so funny on draft night. Like, you never know what's going to happen.
But the crazy thing that's always got me for probably the past decade is you're getting Bryce Young. Okay, you're playing with Nick Saban. He's your coach, and you've got basically an all-pro roster already on your team with wide receivers that are just killing it. And you had Wadley on your team, or Waddle, on your team. Like, that was just one guy, and you're coming into the NFL now. Caleb Williams was a little bit different because the Bears overloaded their offensive roster to help him, and that's obviously not panning out very well. But normally, as a rookie quarterback, you come into this team that doesn't really have anything, and that was like Bryce Young to a T. So he's looking around trying to find weapons when you don't have anything.
Yeah,
And they traded away everything too.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and
They had McCaffrey, they had DJ Moore.
Yep.
I know.
They had some serious wide receivers. I mean, man, dude.
Now you got big country.
Oh well,
They really get.
they won today. Hey, or yesterday, the Panthers won. They beat the Saints,
That's right.
who, by the way, have lost 7 in a row.
You know, and by the way, Derek Carr is the
Trash.
only quarterback. He's the only quarterback that's lost to 31 NFL teams. The only team he hasn't lost to is the Raiders. He plays them in January.
That's hell.
Oh man.
So,
Wow.
yeah, about to go all on him.
That's gonna be
Mania
nice.
about to go ham on him. Hilarious. I mean, Derek Carr, him and his eyeliner. Never been a huge fan of him. I just never believed in dude. I mean, he's had his moments where we're like, oh, look at him, he's putting up numbers, but I mean, come on, when does anybody ever looked across the field and been like, oh man, I'm scared of Derek Carr tonight? Like, nah.
Oh, he's related to David Carr too.
Team,
So.
like, yeah, for real. At some point was the most sacked quarterback in NFL history through his first 5 years or something.
It was bad.
Yep, that happened.
But
The Carr family, man.
I will say it is a really tough day, for me to wake up on this Monday and know that the Texans lost and the Jaguars lost and the Colts lost, but the Titans won. So, breaks my heart. But hey, we're back. Titans, baby. Titans are back. 11-6. Here we go. 11-6. You heard me here. If we get 11-6, I want a D Wade statue out in front of Nissan Stadium.
I can make you that personally. I promise. I can. It's not hard at all.
What is
the paper mache?
What's the Derrick Henry statue gonna look like out there since you guys gave him away?
Just didn't want to come back. I mean, I don't blame him. Titans fans are still like, I can't believe we traded him away. And I'm just like, bro, did you not see his farewell speech at the stadium? Like, he was not coming back. He was like, you don't give a farewell speech and then just be like,
Yeah, he was gone.
I'm gonna change my mind, because they traded him to the Ravens and it was done deal. And Miss Amy vetoed it. She was like, no. And it's because the city would have eaten itself alive. The city would have literally imploded. And maybe it was a bad move because we could have got something, could have got a pick out of it, but it still probably would have been a second or third round. I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean anything. Titans aren't very good about drafting premier picks, no matter whether you're in the top 10 or the 7th round. I mean, they're not upper echelon. Although I will say they've done better lately with some of their picks, but for a while.
Not sure how much. Not sure how much.
Hey, he's winning.
Wow, Jesus!
He beat the Jaguars. He beat the Colts.
Dog the Titans now.
Malik Willis, man.
Yeah, we get that SpongeBob meme 5 hours later.
What was that? A 6th-round pick, a 7th-round pick?
Oh man!
I got a question because I don't know how much time we have left on here, but I do have a question for you guys because there's only been one firing there's only been one firing by the Dallas Cowboys in the history in the middle, or by Jerry Jones at least, in the middle of the season. Do you think there's another one coming this season?
No.
Ooh, I mean,
No.
unless he's bringing Belichick in, I don't.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. They're bad. I don't know.
Mine's like,
They give it to CD Lamb. He runs an end around, gets a 3-yard loss, and they pan over to McCarthy. He just shatters his iPad. Like, he just throws it down in disgust. I'm just like, oh man, the freaking Cowboys. Like, it's fun television to watch them do so badly.
Everybody is talking about Bill Belichick going to the Cowboys. It's not going to happen for one reason.
Can y'all hear me now?
One reason only. Belichick loves control. You ever heard of Jimmy Johnson? Jimmy Johnson tried to get some of that control, and look what happened to him. He got fired. Yeah, like, how does that even happen? It's so stupid. Like, yeah, he'll probably get fired in the offseason, but who are you going to bring in? Another puppet? Because
I mean, Cowboys surprised me. They should have one of the top running games considering they have the two best running backs from 2018. You know,
But when you read the teams, when you get suspended, you don't have them. So do you see how that works?
I mean, and if you follow their social media, I think one of their main social media channels was like Calvin Cook, and it was like, who is Calvin Cook?
Yeah, Calvin Cook. They didn't even know his name.
Hobbs? Was it Roy Hobbs?
Just brought him off the practice squad.
Cowboys hilarious. When Eddie George became the coach of TSU, they were like their actual social media. It wasn't a fan account. Their legit social media was like another Cowboys legend, but it joins the ranks of coaching. I'm like, Eddie George is not a Cowboys legend, you know, like. And they didn't even call him. They called him Eddie James. They didn't even call him Eddie George. They called him Eddie James. You know, it was so hilarious. You know,
About Timo.
I mean,
Yeah,
yeah.
Wish.com.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Breaks my heart to see the Cowboys doing bad. You know, really.
Oh yeah, we're all just heartbroken.
Yes. The bad thing is my son is a Dallas Cowboys fan, not because of me, because of his friends. And I just tell him, I'm like, you're going to be waiting another 30 years. I'm like, you're going to have to wait for all of the ownership and the siblings on down. They're going to have to all die for you to even have a chance to win a playoff game.
I want to see Jerry Jones. I want to see Jerry Jones on the sidelines. Let's put him on the sidelines. He does. Jerry Jones coach for a while, you know? That'd be fantastic. Hell, throw him at running back. Let's see him stiff arm somebody.
They should hire Jim Mora. Yeah, is he still alive?
His son was at was it Arizona? Where was he last after UCLA? I don't even know.
At one point, he was in Arizona. He was like an OC though, right? He wasn't a head coach, right? Yeah. OC or something.
Yeah, he was out of control. I don't know. Yeah.
He needs to put his helmet on when he comes back on. I'm just throw that helmet on, honey.
Man,
but what tonight though we got the Kansas City Taylor Swift. So
hey, Taylor Swift was in Indy just last night, and
I heard about that. Percocet Jimmy was giving away tickets.
That's why they lost last night.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I knew it. We needed Angel Reese to show up. That's what we needed. Because she seems to, the team seems to win every time she shows up, but her team never won. So I guess she's good at the rebound.
WNBA reference get on the show. How did we have that happen?
You're welcome.
We got Ryan here.
Can you bring me on the show? Get everything.
Hey, Caitlin Clark gets clicks, man.
Hey,
just saw that stat where it's like her final game had more viewers than Game 5 of the World Series, which was the highest ever of the World Series in like the last like
8 years or something.
8 years. I mean, that's just
18.6 million.
And you still got people like saying like getting mad because like she's the face of the WNBA. All these WNBA players. Ooh, well, it's not all about Caitlin Clark. Well, I got news for you. Unfortunately, it is because
it is going to be about it. Just to throw in a little bit, their new hire is gonna make that team.
She was like Miss Indiana. She played at Purdue. She's the real deal.
Yeah, and she Connecticut Sun because she had to have seen the Connecticut Sun was imploding. Like they had multiple players leave, retire, so she needed a new gig, and why not go to Caitlin Clark?
Why not go home for sure?
Yeah,
they will be much improved. They did make the playoffs. I mean, so
yeah,
but yeah. Caitlin Clark is changing the game for them.
Yeah.
Crazy to think. So Jeff is in the Matrix and he can hear us and he can see us do all this, but we can't.
Jeff,
oh man.
Jeff said he wasn't going to interrupt our show anymore. He doesn't know what's going on. I said, "No, man, come on back, dude. Doesn't matter. We're loose here. We're loose space. We're not really a fine-tuned, well-oiled machine."
Well, and I wanted to give him one last shout out because as we're closing up shop, I'll give ours again real quick. Again, be sure to follow Sports Idiot Nation wherever you get your social media. The podcasts are always the usual suspects of Apple, Spotify, and then the most fun way to watch, where you'll just have a dark screen every 38 seconds on this show. YouTube, of course. Ryan, again, let us know where we can follow all your stuff. If you are watching on YouTube, we can see your banner, Hot Zone Sports. Is that on all on social media, on X, on Facebook, right? All that.
That is on all social media. On Instagram, I believe it's hot_zone_sports. But on YouTube, it's Hot Zone Sports. Just look for the logo right up here, and yeah, just go ahead and give us a follow, because man, we're gonna be posting shorts, reels, the podcast, of course, and then just your general consensus of sports news throughout the day.
Yeah, and again, it goes without saying. I know, Ryan, you touched on it, but man, there's no shame in my game. I'm all for plugging people who are just doing it big. And for the folks at home listening, I am pushing 32,000 followers. I've been pushing Titans Idiot Nation stuff for 8 years. My page has been live for about 6 years. Ryan is right there neck and neck with me, and it hasn't even been a full year. So you just have to acknowledge like how awesome that is. That isn't dumb luck. that's dedication. That's working hard. That is finding your voice. That is finding your audience, and that's just networking. So like, super proud of that, and super proud to kind of have you on. And obviously Jeff's having some technical difficulties tonight, but Jeff as well, like, give him plugs. Sports with Balls, like, be sure to follow him and all the outlets. He's on the radio, he's got his podcast, he's got tons of stuff going. He's been killing it as well. So make sure you give both these cats a follow, because we're out here doing dumb stuff and acting a fool, but these guys are putting work in every single day, every single morning, every single night. So definitely show them some love for sure.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, we love it. Remember, our show is every Monday and Thursday, so you can catch us this Thursday, again, at Sports Idiot Nation. So we will see you Thursday. Shout out to Ryan and Jeff. Thanks for hanging out. And again, we will see you Thursday.
We miss you, Miles.
Okay, all you sinners, follow Sports Idiot Nation on TikTok, X, and Instagram. Like us on Facebook, and remember, the most fun way to watch us is on YouTube every Monday and Thursday. Be sure to hit the notification bell so you can be updated when new content drops. Remember, the podcast can also be found on the usual suspects of Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Always remember, don't be an idiot.
Sinner.